check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is AJ's mic. Can you hear me at all? Back there? Hello, this is Brian. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I just talked to him on the phone though. Oh, it's okay. I hear you. Can you hear me? Oh. All right, why don't you keep talking to us so AJ can hear you? She's trying to set her IFB. Okay. Okay, she's got you. Here's my channel 1 microphone. This is AJ's mic. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check, check, check. Maybe a little hot. Hold on. Check. All right, this is the guest mic, and I'll adjust it as we go because I don't know who we have. All right, check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, yeah, I restarted it. For some reason it went out. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna leave it all up till we're ready.
And welcome into Courtside Chats with AJ McCord on a beautiful Mother's Day from Denver, Colorado. You're taking a live look at Maurice Harkless getting warmed up from the three-point line for the Blazers. The Blazers getting ready to, of course, take on the Nuggets for this Game 7 here in the Mile High City at the Pepsi Center. Good morning, everybody, and welcome in. We're stoked to have you along for the fourth ever Game 7 in the Trailblazers' 49-year history. It's going to be a fantastic game, so much to break down. Now, the home team wins 79% of Game 7s. But the Blazers have won on this court before in this series, and they believe that's enough to give them the confidence they need coming into this one. And in addition to it, it's their second straight elimination game, so they're no strangers to having their backs against the wall. But before we get into the basketball, it is Mother's Day. So first and foremost, let's hear from the Blazers on how much they love their mamas.
I mean a lot. Obviously, she's not going to be able to go, but it'll be cool to get a win for her. I know how much she cares about my career and how much she cares about the Blazers, period. And she's so excited every game. She watches every game, and every time she can come out here, she's always rocking Blazer gear and my jersey and everything. So just to have her support, and no matter if I play good or play bad, you know, she's always telling me she loves me and she supports me and she's proud of me. So, you know, I'm very blessed to have a mom like that.
Moms are very important in this world, so I'm very thankful to have a mother in my life. It's unfortunate that she has to spend Mother's Day at the game, but I'm sure she'll enjoy it if we're able to come away with the win. She's had a lot of good Mother's Days in the past, and I always tell her every day is Mother's Day, so I'm sure she'll be all right.
I mean, it's just another game, but it's not just another day. Obviously, none of us would be here without our mothers. You know, they go through the most pain and the most stress and suffering to give us life. But my relationship with my mother is special, you know, because a lot of people don't have someone in their corner 100% of the time, somebody who support them 100% of the time, show them love, teach you, care about you, make sure you have everything that you need, teach you to be the right kind of person, just the way of life. You know, that's kind of your foundation is your mother more times than not. And I wouldn't be the person I am today without my mom, you know, from a character or, athlete standpoint. So mothers deserve all the love in the world, especially on that day.
Mothers deserve all the love in the world, especially on their day. And we are so lucky to have one of the best mothers out there, one of the best commentators all around, just fantastic person. Doris Burke is here, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys have the game today on ABC. What are you looking for in this Game 7?
You know, I know this is Damian Lillard's first Game 7, but somehow I don't think he's going to blink under the pressure. I think this is the exact environment in which he thrives. People are doubting him. You know the mountain they have to climb, the history, both as a franchise and historically 79% of the time the home team wins. I'm never counting Damian and CJ out.
And, Damian and CJ obviously have gotten a lot of the deserved attention in this series, but what about Rodney Hood coming off the bench and having a career-high playoff points? You know what I'm
very curious to see? Does Denver make an adjustment now? He has hurt you guys enough that do you start to see a little extra attention if you're Rodney Hood? Do they try to make him a passer? He only averages about an assist per game. That's going to be one of the fascinating storylines I'm keeping an eye on.
And that's a good one because obviously everyone in Rip City has fallen in love with Rodney Hood. The other person they were already in love with before Game 6, but fell in love with yet again was Zach Collins.
Yes.
Zach Collins came out, protected the rim. We all know he plays with that chip on his shoulder. So how big of an impact can Zach have as a rim protector, which is something that Portland has needed in this series?
Yeah, I think he's critical, obviously, because, he is, to me, that sort of borderline NBA big. Can he stretch the floor and make threes? Yes, he can. I think with more repetition, he'll get more confident and comfortable doing that. But the most important value he brings to this game this afternoon is absolutely on the defensive end. When Ennis steps off the floor, he's got to be the guy who protects the rim, makes it a deterrent at the rim for the other Denver guards. Listen, Jamal Murray loves to back cut. He loves to drive hard. Can he be there in rotation?
And the other thing that we know, the series against Oklahoma City was very chippy between the Blazers and the Thunder. This one hasn't been chippy until Game 6. So this is a spot I think the Blazers like to be in. They like it to be chippy. So how do you How do you control that emotion and turn it into a positive?
First of all, I laugh at the notion that this is chippy. Only because, here's why. I grew up in the 1990s, you know, watching the NBA Knicks and Heat, and Knicks and Pacers go hand-to-hand combat. I don't think they'll be flustered in any way. I think they'll relish the idea that perhaps there's something on the other side that they can, you know, be discounted or motivated. But chippy, I laugh at this notion.
Sassy, how's that? We'll use Seth Curry's
Sassy
word.
was an interesting term, one I've never heard related to an NBA game.
I haven't either, but I kind of loved it. When Seth Curry said sassy, I was like, yep, I like that. Mike Malone said the same thing, by the way. He was like, this is not chippy. I grew up in a different NBA. But we know these teams have their backs against the wall. How much does it help Denver having already played in a Game 7 this postseason?
You know what, I don't think that they have shown many signs of youth. There have been a couple of times where I thought fatigue played a part in Nikola Jokic's passing and decision making, but just I don't think the experience has played as big a part as we all anticipated. And I think it goes directly to the personalities of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Both men are like this, very even-keeled. So it has surprised me how little it's been a factor.
Yeah, and their coach, Mike Malone.
Correct.
Very even-keeled. And so it really, at least what we've seen in Portland, it starts from the top down with that leadership
No question.
style.
I'm a huge Mike Malone fan. He and I share a history in Rhode Island. His dad was very good to me the whole time he was an assistant coach in the NBA. Listen, I say this to you, and I said this to you the last time we were together. Both of these teams are very likable. Both teams have incredible stories. I don't know an NBA fan who couldn't be rooting for Damian Lillard to get to a Western Conference Finals. Nikola Jokic has been a breakout star. I think you could make the case he's played as well as any player in the league in the playoffs. So either way, I think ESPN will be pretty happy.
I think so. It's going to be a fantastic Western Conference Finals. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're so busy, so thank you. So right now, we heard from Doris that this may not qualify as chippy in the old NBA, but this series has gotten a little more temperamental. So here's the Blazers on that chippiness and where it comes from.
We're all playing for something, man, so it's going to be competitive. It's going to be chippy. If it's too friendly, that means you don't care. You know what I mean? You probably get competitive over a checkers or a chess game. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way we're programmed. So you got to go out there and compete. You know it's at stake, and that's just the way I am. To me, it's like when you growing up with your cousins and you're spending a lot of time with them. You know, at the beginning of the summer, you're excited to be around them. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, y'all fighting each other, and nobody like each other no more. So I think that's kind of what it is. You know, we played them 6 times. They think they're better than we are, and we think that we're better than they are. We trying to end their season, and they trying to end ours. So of course, it's going to be a little bit of, you know, tension, some animosity in there.
What did you think when Seth called him sassy?
I thought it was funny. I mean, I would expect them to use a word other than sassy. That was kind of funny. I actually laughed at that.
Well, we have spent a lot of time together in these last couple weeks. This is Jamie Hudson of NBC Sports Northwest, and unlike spending the summer with your cousins, I'm not tired of you yet, girl. So I'm glad you're on again.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Except I'm like, oh God, I have to follow Doris Burke.
I know,
AJ.
but you know what? If anybody is up to the challenge, it's this girl. So let's talk a little hoops, right?
Yes.
So Rodney Hood, everyone has just fallen in love with him from Rip City. At 25 off the bench in Game 6, a career high in playoff points. He's shooting, averaging, I think, 16 points a game on 60% shooting. So Mike Malone said pregame, we got to start planning for this guy. But when you plan for Hood, there's a whole slew of Blazers bench coming in behind him. So who are you looking to step up if Hood does get that extra attention?
Yeah, and we think he will. I mean, Hood's been so consistent in this series, and really the whole playoffs. I know he didn't score as much against OKC, but his defense was there, and even Coach Stotts was saying, hey, he's been big this whole postseason. Now, as far as the Blazers' weapons, if they're going to give attention to Hood, I say go to Seth Curry.
Yep.
You're going to have smaller guards on Curry, because that's the thing. Rodney Hood, AJ, has been able to take advantage of the smaller guards, whether it's Jamal Murray or whoever. So I imagine they're going to put some more length on Hood with the second unit. So either get Seth Curry going, or how about some lobs to Zach Collins and Evan Turner? ET can lob it up.
What about Jake Layman? Let's get Jake Layman in the game. That'd be a fun X factor.
That would
I think, personally. I'm not Coach Stotts, but we'll go with that.
Right. I know. I've always been a get Jake Layman in, but I don't see it happening.
No.
Game Game 7. But I think they're just going to need to share the ball a little bit more, and they'll get Rodney Hood open still. Set some screens for him. He's doing so well that I can't imagine he'll slow down too much.
Right. And imagine if he's on the floor with Dame, with CJ, with Zach, and with Enes. Right. You can't double everybody. And I just named 5 people who can score the basketball either on the perimeter or in the paint. So if Hood's getting more attention, you're going to leave Dame and CJ open. So if I'm Terry Stotts, I'm taking advantage of the fact that Denver has to game plan for Rodney Hood now, and that's going to leave some of your maybe all-stars open. So that's one thing to look at. The other one's Zach Collins. We talked about this before Game 6, and I'm not saying we called our shot. We kind of called our shot, saying that Zach was going to be a huge impact in Game 6. So he and Enes, when they're on the floor, it's a plus 15 when they're together. So if you're Stotts, how do you exploit the two of them working together?
Oh, yeah, because when you have Zach Collins out there, you've got length out there on Paul Millsap, which is huge because we've seen it in this series that Millsap can take advantage of Al-Farouq Aminu or Maurice Harkless. So I love Collins on Millsap. I also think that Zach brings that extra punch on the defensive end, that energy that you're going to need in Game 7 when you're on the road.
Yes.
So I think Collins will be a major factor tonight, and I know he was talking to Brooke Olzendam earlier on Facebook Live, and he was saying how he's very excited for a Game 7, but you could tell he's very dialed in, which I think this whole team is.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this, AJ. Before Game 5, Blazers were almost a little too tense, too tight.
Yep.
I think tonight what I've seen during warm-ups is they're a little more loose. Like, they're having fun. Like, hey, this is a Game 7 for everyone except, I think, Enes Kanter. This is their first Game 7.
And Rodney.
So, okay, and Rodney.
Yeah, but he didn't play when he was in Cleveland.
That makes
He played when he was in Utah.
So, I mean, if it's your first Game 7, go out there and have fun. Just ball out.
I know. It's our game, my first Game 7,
Mine
too. So
too.
I'm, like, super stoked. I've been looking forward to this since Thursday. So we talked a little bit about the chippiness. I know Doris, Mike Malone, they're saying this is not chippy. I came from a different version of the NBA. But needless to say, there's a fire here that wasn't there in the first 4 or 5 games. We saw what fire did in the Oklahoma City series to Damian Lillard and company. So how do you expect the Blazers to respond to the sassy Nuggets?
Right, I was going to say that. They're going to go after this sassy team. First of all, I love that Seth Curry used that word, sassy.
I know, it's my favorite.
It's pretty great. Yeah, no, like you said, AJ, because of what happened against OKC, I expect this Blazers team to be like, okay, we're here for all that chippiness. Yep. You want to poke Seth Curry in the eye, then we're gonna come after you.
We're gonna send Zach Collins into the scrum.
Exactly.
Because he always ends up in the middle of it, even when he's not involved.
I know.
Interesting how that works out.
You always need a player like that. That's
you
great.
do. I'm not allowed to say the word that his dad used to describe Zach Collins, but we were told he has a lot of this in him. You can find it on Twitter. So we're going to move on from that. Last thing, what's the biggest matchup that you're looking at tonight? Who's the Blazer that you think is going to have the biggest impact?
Well, I got to say, with it being Damian Lillard's first Game 7, and it's on Mother's Day, I know he really has the best relationship with his mom. I expect from the jump for him to jump on this Nuggets team. And I mean, it's weird to say. I mean, it's like, oh, of course, Damian Lillard. But, I mean, in a Game 7, he can have that crazy takeover game, and that's what I expect.
Yeah, and he's wearing his Sugar G's in warm-ups today, which is the colorway of the Dame 5s in honor of his mom. So I'm not saying that he can't have a bad game in those, but I'm saying it's going to be difficult, is all I'm saying.
There you go.
So, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. The Nuggets have obviously already played in a Game 7 this postseason. Let's hear how they're getting ready for this Game 7 against the Blazers.
I mean, it's our second Game 7. Our guys did a great job handling that game and the pressure of that game against San Antonio. And I have no doubt they'll be ready to play tomorrow. But we all understand what's at stake, and you don't have an opportunity to get to the Western Conference Finals every year. People think, oh, it happens, this is automatically going to happen next year. But when you've been around the block, you know that that's not the case. So many things can happen to a team, to a conference, injuries. So taking advantage of the opportunity when it's in front of you is something that we're all embracing and looking forward to.
It's Game 7, man. It's everything on the line. You lay it all out there. You see what happens, man. But that's how we got to approach it, but that's how we should approach every game. We should play every game like it's our last game. But tomorrow will be no different.
We're like 10 out. Oh, we're right now. Actually, not 10 out. We're right now. So we're with Romi Bean of CBS Denver. Girl, how was your trip back from Portland?
Hey man, you know what? I gotta tell you, Portland Airport, they had live music. You guys are very hospitable.
The violin, did you get the violin?
No, I got the piano.
Oh, very
He was singing
nice.
some tunes.
Oh,
very
nice.
hospitable.
You had a rough road trip.
Yes. Well, went 0 for 2. I was at the Avs game before Game 6, so it was great for you. It was great for people in the Bay Area. Not for me.
I know. But now we're back together again.
Yes, I know.
So that's the plus side for you.
Amen.
We're back together. So we're talking about this Game 7. Obviously, the Nuggets have already been in a Game 7 this postseason. How much more confidence does that give them that they can win this one?
You know, I think less than we maybe originally thought. We kind of were talking about this with Game 6, and they had a lot, well, we're confident because we've been in Game 6, and then the same thing happened.
Yeah.
And so the experience of going to Game 7, they haven't, but I think at this point they're obviously very aware. This is such a different team than the Spurs. The Spurs play at a glacial pace, and it's such a defensive game. And this is, I mean, you know, basically can't let Dame get to half court.
Right.
So it's such a different game. I think that they know that this is going to be a fight to the last second.
Yeah. Which is what Game 7 should be.
Absolutely.
So let's enjoy that.
Oh my gosh.
But they do have home court advantage on their side. 79% of home teams win Game 7. How are you expecting the Mile High City to show out tonight?
Well, I sure hope they show out because I got to tell you, Portland fans are amazing. I mean, honestly, some of the best I've seen, really. I mean, the whole game. And they don't take a break. It's unbelievable. You know, a lot of times here, third quarter, people trim back in. No. I mean, Portland fans, they really set the bar high. So I'm hoping Nuggets fans match it, but they're going to have to because we saw Dame start to get in that rhythm last game. And, I mean, you let him get in that rhythm and he's unstoppable.
He is. And now the other person that got in a rhythm in Game 6 was Rodney Hood for the Blazers, and he really, I think, caught the Nuggets a bit off guard.
Oh, yeah.
So Mike Malone said today, I'm really mad that Mo Harkless got that cramp in the quadruple overtime game because that's when Rodney Hood came in and had an impact. Of course, he had 25 off the bench in Game 6. So if you're the Nuggets, now you have to game plan for somebody new. How do they do that? How do they make that adjustment in just 76, 72 hours, whatever it is?
And I think the whole thing is being a little more physical, you know, because the same thing with Dame, you give him this much space, you know, give him in, she takes a mile. And with Rodney Hood, I mean, it's, you kind of, you hope that they're almost a little more physical with him because I think really they're such good shooters on this team. You kind of have to be up in their grill a little bit and hope you don't get, you know, too many fouls. Yeah. But I mean, Rodney, you guys had 42 points off the bench in the last game, and the Nuggets had 13.
Yep.
So I mean, Malone called Rodney Hood the MVP. I think everyone's very aware that you got to be physical on this guy because he can score.
And that bench number is a total switch from the first series because the Blazers bench had only 18 points a game against the Thunder. The Nuggets had like 28 or something like that. So it's a very big. The benches are going to play a key yet again today. But how about the Joker? How's his mentality going into today's game?
You know, it's funny. Malone said Joker will play close to 48 minutes. He's maybe I'll give him a minute rest in each quarter.
How nice of him.
So lovely. But you know, now that they've played 65 and whatever, it's like 48. But he's always calm. You know, the thing with the Joker is he really is just a little kid at heart.
Yeah.
And he's just playing basketball, and he's happy to play basketball, and that's so fun. But you know, I think when he gets out there, the switch turns on, just like it does for all these guys. And I think for him, he just wants to be out here as much as he can. The big thing with Joker is he doesn't like to be aggressive as sometimes we need him to be. The Nuggets need him to be because he loves passing. He is the biggest sharing is caring guy I've ever met in my life. But when he doesn't score, the Nuggets usually don't win. Yeah. So it's an interesting balance where you almost have to push him to know you need to get up in there and score.
Yeah, which he's going to be a key yet again today. Of course, the Blazers want to slow him down as much as possible. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he have close to a triple-double in Game 7?
I believe so.
Or a triple-double.
I mean, he's pretty much averaging close to.
Yeah, which is insane.
Insane.
So, anyway, we're looking forward to a great Game 7. Thank you so much for being here. We've broken down a lot of the basketball aspects of this Game 7, but Dame says the basketball is a big thing, but it's as much about the mentality as it is about the actual skills of this game.
Obviously, you can break it down to what we need to do defensively, offensively, and limit the offensive rebounds and the transition points, keep the crowd out of it. But it's a mental thing. Our minds have to be made up about going in there and securing a win. That's what it is. Our minds got to be right. We got to be connected. We got to be on a string. And everybody has to have the same mentality of like, we going in here and we getting this done.
So we We are just about 45 minutes away from tip-off of Game 7. It is all coming down to this. Both teams saying they're going to leave it all out there. And so for me, I'm ready for a fantastic Game 7. What a ride it has been, Rip City, for this Courtside Chat series against the Nuggets. Hoping we get to do a few more in the Western Conference Finals. But for now, enjoy the game.